Hello everybody, my name's Chris, and today I'm going to talk about my MegaFavNumber. Now to start off with, before the making of this video, I wouldn't really say I had a MegaFavNumber. I had been watching a bunch of the number file videos about the big numbers like Grime's number, Tree of Rayo's number. I don't know if that works. But I never really had my own favorite big number. I have a favorite number in general, which is 55. As you can see in my username, but I wanted to participate in this MegaFavNumber deal. So I went on a quest, on an adventure per se, a journey to find my own MegaFavNumber.
Nope, not there.
Now it wasn't a literal journey, but I had to do a bunch of thinking. Well, for starters, I do have a favorite number in general, which is 55. I can't remember the exact reasoning why I have 55 as my favorite number, but from what I can remember, I believe it starts off with just 5. When I was younger, my favorite number, or at least I would say, was 5. It's a simple, clean-cut number, divides quite nicely into groups of 10s, 5, 10, 15, etc. That was many years ago, and since then it's evolved into 55 being my favorite number. And I think it started off with me just using 55 as my username back when I created it years ago. And again, I can't recall exactly why I've decided that to be my favorite number. I mean, I could say, what's better than a 15? 2 5s, 55, there we go, favorite number, call it a day. And I've come to quite like this number. I even like to hide it in the code of some of my games, just as a little Easter egg, even though I don't expect anybody to find it. But it's fun. I like the number. It just makes me happy for no apparent reason. So I thought to myself, how could I turn this favorite number 55 into a MegaFavNumber? Well, for starters, 5 to the 55th power. Awesome. Call it a day. Let's see what happens. Yeah, that's a big number, all right. But it didn't really interest me. I mean, it's a big number, but I don't like it. I don't know. It doesn't feel like that could be my favorite mega number. So let's try something else. Well, let's see. What's better than a 5? 2 5s. What's better than 2 5s? 55 5s. Haha! Look at it there. That's a big beast. So, could this really be my favorite number? I mean, it's just a bunch of 5s. Nothing really special about it other than a whole lot of 5s. I mean, there's 55 of them, so I like that fact. But I don't really know what to say about it. It's just a bunch of 5s. It is still quite impressive, nonetheless, given its great size. And look, you can even kind of format it to fit in a nice little square. Yeah. Wait a minute, that shouldn't work. This would be an 11 by 5 grid, which looks nice when typed out. That's because each character isn't exactly a square. This is the actual grid, what it looks like. It's more of a rectangle than a nice square. So I got to thinking, could I rearrange them in such a way that it's a nice square? And the issue is, the only factors of 55 are 1, 5, 11, and 55. It doesn't really give you any room for a nice square arrangement. So then I continue to kind of think about, what can I do with this? Well, if you look at the American flag, there are 50 stars, and they're arranged in such a way that it looks like a nice, and not exactly a square, but a close, nice-fitting rectangle. What's interesting about this is 50 is in a similar situation. You can have a 10 by 5 grid that's still rectangular, and that's the closest you can get, but the stars aren't exactly arranged in a grid. Basically, what we've got going on here is a grid within a grid. Let me paint it out here. So we start off with one grid, x by y, where x equals 6, y equals 5. That creates 30 stars. But then we go ahead and take it a step further and add a grid within this grid. The dimensions of this new grid are just one smaller than the outside grid, so we have a 5 by 4. And we can even show this in forms of a math equation. For a regular grid, we have x times y, which is quite simple. Then if we take it a step further into the American flag formation, we can show it like this. X times y plus x minus 1 times y minus 1. We have the first grid on the left, and on the right we're just adding that second grid, which is smaller by 1 unit for x and y. And if we plug in our numbers, the math adds up. We get 50. So cool, maybe I can use this formula to find a way to arrange 55 fives in this cool little pattern here. Well, I plugged the formula into a program, played with some values, and no dice. With this arrangement, there's not really any way to create 55 stars or 55 fives in this neat little way. So, I guess that's it. I guess I'm done, folks. But wait. Let's take it a step further. A grid within a grid within the grid. Basically what this is going to look like is, imagine additional stars placed between the other stars diagonally. Now let's go back to the math equation. We have the first grid, the second grid, and we want to add a third grid. The dimensions of this grid are going to be essentially one smaller than the combination of the previous two, because each star is going between each of the previous stars. So we have x plus x minus 1, minus 1 since it's smaller. That gives us 2x minus 2. The same applies to y. And there we have it. That's our formula. Now what are the odds that this will actually give me 55? Let's find out. Plug it into a program. It works. X equals 5, y equals 3. Now this is a little bit more rectangular than the x equals 6, y equals 5 formation, but it's still something. So I tried it out, and this is the result. Bam. I think it looks cool. Not really the square formation I was expecting, but I think it's a sight to behold. Almost looks like some sort of crocheting type pattern. I guess I'm no expert on crocheting or how that works, but it looks cool. And here's a properly spaced out grid. Now it's not really a square as I was trying to get. It's about as rectangular as our original 55 formation, but you've got to admit, this looks cool. Here's what it looks like with commas. And there you have it. My mega fave number. A bunch of fives. 55 of them to be exact, arranged in a nice looking pattern. Hope you enjoyed my little spiel on 55 getting crazy. And if you haven't already, check out all the other videos on mega fave numbers. There's some really good ones. Thanks for watching. Take care.